across the studio, James Creedon's waiting. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Mark.
Starting with a reaction to Charlie Hebdo on the eve of the trial of the accomplices of the terrorists.
So they've decided to do something that some consider provocative, others consider brave and audacious, and I'll show you the reactions in a moment, but it's on their front cover coming out tomorrow, but it's already available. They are publishing, again, caricatures of the Prophet Mohammed, which was the touchy issue at the centre of that awful terror attack back in 2015. And immediately after that attack, they did publish an image or a caricature of Mohammed, but since then they haven't. And they explain here on their website that many times they were asked to do so since 2015 as a sort of a question of principle on freedom of expression and whatnot. But they never thought it was really worth doing until now, because as this trial is taking place, which involves alleged accomplices to the attack, they feel that it's important to sort of, again, show how the issue of freedom of speech and freedom of expression and even the freedom to offend is a vital and deeply cherished principle in French republicanism and in the French public space. So what are the reactions? Well, you've got the widow of one of the cartoonists who died in that attack, George Valinsky. She said it was an audacious move. Others have said, where do you see the courage here? This is simply a provocation. Now, I'm kind of going through it very quickly because there are many kind of reactions. A reaction to that then from from this particular commentator. The issue with calling this a provocation is that it tacitly accepts the fact that there will be an organised plot to kill you if you publish something. Salman Rushdie, Kurt Vestergaard and writers at Charlie Hebdo are aware of this. This is such a kind of a this is such a particularly French debate, and it comes back, recurrently in the French public space, and it's always the same thing. It's like, to how much do you cherish the issue of freedom of expression? And even I'll try to find that. There was one tweet that kind of said it basically. I don't have it right there in front of me, but just to quickly go through one or two more of the reactions. The French Council for the Muslim Faith, they tweeted. They said the freedom to caricature and the freedom to not like it are guaranteed, and nothing justifies violence. That's the French kind of state-sponsored French Muslim body, if you like, that oversees the Muslim faith. And he added, actually, the president of that organisation, that calling on people just to ignore it, because many do see it as a provocation on who don't like this particular gesture. This is another person saying, let's be clear, the simple fact that these caricatures still provoke such a degree, create or trigger death threats, insults, justifies their being published. So it's a sort of, I find it an exhausting debate, but it comes back again and again, and it is about that whole issue of, stating your case, and that's, I think, what Charlie Hebdo are doing. They're stating their case that one should have the right to do this in a democracy where freedom of expression is cherished.
Indeed. January the 7th, 2015, that fateful day when the Kouachi brothers stormed their editorial meeting and killed basically the entire editorial staff. I think that'll haunt people for many generations. Now then, next we go to Lebanon, and an encounter yesterday between Emmanuel Macron and, an icon in Lebanon, the singer Fairouz.
Let's get a little sense of who Fairouz is with some pictures that we have from 2010, Mark. Now, this is one of the last times she appeared in public. She has taken on this kind of mythical, she was already mythical, she was already an icon, she was already a diva, but she hasn't really appeared in public since 2011. And that has only created an even greater sense of intrigue and mystique around her. She's now in her mid-80s. And so she's just a huge figure across the Middle East in terms of her music and her mystique. She doesn't really give interviews.
So and she's in her mid-80s now.
She's in her mid-80s.
Performing there, she's in her mid-70s.
That's right.
She's incredibly well on it.
So we'll have a look now at some photos of her yesterday evening, and these photos came out today. This is an image here, if we take a look on the computer, of her. Where is it? She's with Emmanuel Macron, and he's giving her the Legion of Honor.
Oh.
Right? So she received the Legion of Honor from the French president yesterday in her home in Beirut, and this was a rare public appearance for her. And all sorts of comments online. I see our Fairouz smiling in these photos with Emmanuel Macron, and I'm just thinking maybe it's a good sign, maybe things will be okay in Lebanon after all. I know it's naive thinking, but her smile makes me feel better. better. She's a real feel-good figure in Lebanon. President Macron meeting iconic Lebanese diva Fairouz, symbol of unity. I'll explain that in a second. Reassures protesters. Of course, Mark, you had some smart-ass saying the diva meets with Fairouz, right? Because, of course, it's the diva meeting Macron. But anyway, you'll always have the smart ass. But that's a famous Middle East Carl Sharrow. Could we just play out with this song, which is Li Beirut? Just if we could have a little listen to it as we end the segment.
Yeah, let's end the whole segment with that. That'd be great.
That is from 1983 during the civil war in Beirut. She's Christian, but she doesn't put it kind of in the front and foreground. So she's appreciated by all segments of the Lebanese population. That song massively listened to when the explosion happened, Mark.
Well, why don't we leave everybody with Fairouz, and I'll be back very shortly with more news.
وجه بحار قدير